I'm Joel Sherman. This is Ken Davidoff. We're both baseball columnists for the New York Post. Friday night, Yankees and Twins in the Bronx. Best of 5 division series, 200-win teams. Ken, I wonder what you think is the big story going into the series.
Well, Joel, from a New York perspective, you can't think Yankees-Twins without thinking about the history of this series and how one-sided it's been. And I think everyone's wondering, is that just going to repeat itself? Because it's been different eras, from Torrey Hunter to Joe Mauer to Irving Santana 2 years ago. And I think it'll be a tighter series, a more competitive series. These Twins are different because they hit with power and because they're caught up analytically. So I think we're going to see a fun series.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore. They've played 15 games previously in the postseason. The Yankees have won 13 of those games. The only 2 times Minnesota won games, Johan Santana started. So I wonder if a lot of this is on Jose Barrios, who is the ace of the Twins. If you're in New York, you followed the Yankees storyline all season, which is they don't have enough starting pitching. By the way, either do the Twins.
Right.
Both teams are going to try to hit home runs and get to their bullpen. I wonder if you think there's a key guy in that big globe in this series.
For me, it's James Paxton, Joel, because there's so much unknowing about what can he provide up and down this year, very up in the second half until last week when he had the left glute incident. And now he'll likely game 1 starter. And can he give the Yankees the length to set into motion the rest of their plans, to preserve the bullpen, so ideally they don't even have to pitch in game 1?
So what's fascinating about that to me, Ken, as I think about it a lot in this series, is the Twins are the best team in the sport against left-hand pitching. So you've got Paxton starting potentially games 1 and 5. Does that to some degree they take J. Happ and CC Sabathia out of long relief? Because the lineup for the Twins, aside from Kepler and Rosario, that's all a right-hand hitting lineup. Yeah. Guys like Britton and Chapman, who are left-handed relievers, they're neutral. They get everybody out. And that's why I think a big story in this is Domingo Germán not being available to the Yankees. And I wonder if the key player in this series is Chad Green, who over the last few months, it's kind of gone under the radar a little, has been terrific for the Yankees and could give them length from one place to the other. I wonder, what do you think has to happen for this series to play out well for the Yankees, where they're looking ahead to the winner of the Astro Division Series?
Yeah, Joel, I think they're going to have to slug. They're going to have to, the final tally was 307 Minnesota, 306 Yankees, right, at the end of the year. And I think Giancarlo Stanton is a huge player in all this. He's going to have to be good Giancarlo, not the bad Giancarlo from a year ago, October. I flash back to that series in Minnesota back in July when the Yankees won 2-3 just by slugging. And Stanton and Judge and Gary Sanchez and everyone else in that lineup, I think that's how this series is most likely going to be won.
Yeah, I'm going to go and do a little U-turn from the season. I think the key to this series is the Yankees starting pitching, even if they don't use traditional starters in the rest of the series. You're still going to have to get a lot of outs from Tanaka. You're still going to have to get a lot of outs from Luis Severino. Their right-handed stuff sets up better against Minnesota than maybe even Paxton stuff in game 1. Severino, remember, pitched in the wild card game 2 years ago and was out after about a third or 2/3 of an inning. And Chad Green had to save them, and David Robertson and a whole bunch of bullpen guys. I think it will be hard for the Yankees to get 27 outs consistently in this series if they're going to do it one handoff to the other 7-8 times a game. They're going to have to get some bulk from Paxton and Tanaka and Severino. I think those guys are as key as anyone. So, Kenny, if the Yankees don't advance, and there will be a lot of headlines in New York and big problems for them if they don't advance as a 103-win team, what would have gone wrong in this series?
Yeah, well, I'll start with Paxton again, Joel, and that's why I think he's so key. As you pointed out, the Twins hit lefties very well. If he goes an inning in game 1, and then to me that just starts a whole snowball effect, not to mention the pressure that's going to be on the Yankees after such a game. That's where I see the worst-case scenario emerging.
The Yankees in the playoffs the last 2 years, 2017 under Joe Girardi, and even last year, once they get by the wild card and they play 108-win Boston, they're the underdog. They got a lot of pressure on them here to at least go see the Astros again, probably in the ALCS. They've never in the history since Yankee Stadium opened have they gone a full calendar decade without winning a championship. If they don't win this year, it would mean the first one. They have a lot of pressure on them. I think their Achilles heel here is they fall behind early in a game of the series, and suddenly the pressure is suffocating them.
Yeah.
If that happens, I think they're in big trouble. So the key here is who's going to advance? Who do you like, Yankees or Twins in this series?
I like the Yankees, Joel, but I'm going to say Yankees in 5.
I think the series belongs to the Yankees. I'll go one less to you. The Twins will get their usual 1. 3 games to 1.